Hey everyone, welcome back to iHeart Animation. Today's video is going to finally be my discussion about April in the Extraordinary World with Rachel Wagner. But before we get into that, I just wanted to let you know that this episode will serve as a season finale of sorts for iHeart Animation. There may be a few more episodes in December, but they will likely be Christmas-themed episodes, and they will be released along with a few new episodes of the show I did for December last year, the Christmas Carol Countdown, where we look at various versions of the classic Charles Dickens story. I'm still working out a schedule for that, but I will say that there is unlikely to be as many episodes as there were last year, when I did 3 a week leading up till Christmas. As much as I'd love to be able to output my content that quickly, these days it's just not feasible. However, I will do my best to get as many out as possible before the end of the month, and I may not let Christmas be my absolute final stopping point. If I have any left after Christmas, I'll still put them out. There's nothing wrong with spreading out the holiday cheer a few extra days. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know what's coming, and also to let you know that there may be at least one other surprise coming before the year is out. I'm still working on things, but I'm pretty excited for the future of iHeart Animation. Hopefully I'll have more information on that in the next week or so stay tuned. Until then, I've got lots more stuff on the way. Okay, let's get on to the main event, my discussion of April and the Extraordinary World with Rachel Wagner.
Hi, everybody. I am Rachel from Rachel's Reviews, and I love animation, and I love Disney and indie animation. I have obscure animation. Every month, me and my friend Stanford do a podcast where we talk about underappreciated and sometimes obscure kind of animated films that we like to bring to the surface and talk about. It's really fun. So April in the Extraordinary World is one that I really enjoy. And so this is going to be a lot of fun to talk about.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us a little bit about the movie and why you chose it?
So I chose April in the Extraordinary World because I think it is a very inventive, very creative film that I think more people should see. There are parts of it that I admit are divisive that you're either going to go with or not go with. And I partly picked it because I really felt like Jonathan would like it. Cross fingers. I felt like it had a little bit of some of the feel of some of the things that we've talked about when we talked about Doctor Who. I think that it's probably the best steampunk has ever been translated into movie form. Most steampunk movies are terrible because they're just so focused on style and the substance is not there. And something like The Wild Wild West or League of Extraordinary Gentlemen are just some really epically terrible movies. But in this case, you actually get to see what a world would literally be like. It's not just wearing funny clothes like steampunk. It's what the world would be like if we had stopped progressing at steam. And I think that that's really interesting and creative. And the whole idea of sort of all of the scientists have been taken. And so you have this character of April that has to kind of figure out, including her parents. And I like the fact that her parents aren't like paragons of virtue by any step, anything. So there's some complexity there, some interesting things happen there. I think, I mean, it's not perfect. There's little things that could be better, but I love the visual style and I just the world building, and I find it a real fun little movie.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things, like right off the bat at the very beginning, I really liked how it looked.
Yeah.
Like it was such a unique looking film because it looked more like a graphic novel than any animated film that I've seen in a while. Just the sharp black lines when everything was drawn and the way things were colored, like the color and the shading, it just felt like a graphic novel come to life. And I loved that about it. It was just really good.
Yeah, I really like that about it too. It's based on the style of the visual style of this French cartoonist named Jacques Tardy, and the people behind this were also behind the Persepolis, which is another movie that I really enjoy, really think is brilliant. And it's not well, they're really different, so it's hard to compare. But yeah, I really did also like the colors, the reds, everything looked like a world that had stayed at Steam. Everything was a little bit dirty, a little bit, sort of smoggy, and I think they captured that almost a bit of a film noir feel at certain times pretty well. And there's even some moments that feel a little bit of a Miyazaki feel to them. You have a talking cat that definitely feels very Miyazaki, and some of the other flying inventions, flying things feel very Miyazaki. And so it's an interesting combination of French themes, steampunk themes, anime themes, a lot of different stuff, science fiction. And so that's pretty cool.
It's interesting that you draw the comparisons to Persepolis, because that actually had crossed my mind while I was watching it. It's not like exactly like Persepolis, but there was enough similarities that I felt like it was close, and that makes perfect sense if some of the same people may have been behind both movies.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that the European animation scene, I guess, for lack of a better word, has been able to take off the way that the anime scene has been able to take off. And I don't know if the main difference has just been that there is more of a television presence in anime. I don't know, but there's just so much quality animation coming out of Europe right now. Everything from Aardman, which is brilliant most of the time, to Cartoon Saloon with Song of the Sea and Secret of the Kells. That whole studio is doing incredible things. The Breadwinner was amazing last year. From them, you have this whole Studio Canal. I don't know. It's really interesting. I love Cat in Paris. That's a really wonderful film. But other movies, I mean, like Shaun of the Sheep. Like, why is that not a bigger hit over here? I don't understand. It's so sweet, so delightful. And I don't know. It's just an interesting thing. I just don't understand why some of these haven't hit the way that, like I said, anime seems to have been able to hit. There's a lot of really interesting stuff happening over there, and I wish that it could get a broader audience. And this is available on Netflix, so if you're willing to give it a shot, then you can watch it.
Yeah, I wish the theaters would give films like this more of a shot in the U.S.
Yeah.
I've complained to you about this a lot. I never get to see these films when they come because they never come to a theater near me. And if they do, it's like one day. And like I have 2 jobs, so I can't always make that work. So it feels like they're not given enough of a fair shake in the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, this movie, I get it with this movie, but there's other movies that, because this movie takes some risks and does some things that not everyone's going to like. So we're going to talk some spoilers.
Yeah, I was just going to say, up until now, we've avoided spoilers, but I do want to get into some things that happen later on in the movie.
Yeah.
Did you have something specific you want to talk about?
Well, I think what happens with the villains is definitely the most polarizing thing that is not going to be for everybody. So she ends up finding her grandfather, which I really like her grandfather, and this is really, really great. And they end up having this moving house, which is, again, very Miyazaki.
I thought the same thing. I was like, this is just like Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah.
I love that. I wish it had survived.
Yeah. And they get to the place where her parents are. And what was interesting is that her mother has basically agreed with her captors that this is a kind of a noble thing what they're doing, and they're sort of cloistering all of the smart people in this one spot, kind of a thing. And it's kind of devastating for April.
Yeah, I liked that they had her mom not be perfect.
Yeah.
And I like that there was some conflict there. I wasn't clear 100% on what the plan was. I don't think they were going to actually kill everybody on Earth, because that was what the main villain decided he was going to do at the end. Were they just going to terraform other planets, or was there something more sinister going on?
Yeah, like the point I think was the reason why her mother was agreeing to this is the idea was is they were coming up with this perfect oil as this energy source, and that would stop war over energy sources, over fuel, and that would lead to all these great creations and everything would be great, and that so that's kind of how they got it to that point. But really, like what the villain is after is this perfect source to purely fuel like plants kind of taking over the world, for lack of a better word. It's this serum, I guess, and that's why they were particularly after April, is this to make this super vegetable kind of a thing.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's talk about the ultimate reveal. The identity of the villains, which I think is what you were talking about as being the most divisive thing. The villains turn out to be really smart lizards.
Yeah.
So what did you think of that reveal?
It was definitely a surprise, and I could see why it wouldn't work for everybody. And I did read some reviews that were like, it was great until the lizards. So I get it.
Did you see the lizard thing coming, or was it a surprise to you when they were finally unmasked?
It was a surprise to me, for
sure. I saw it coming.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
At the very beginning, you see two lizards escape this lab that gets blown up. And I was like, what was with those lizards? Why did they have the lizards run away? Where did they go? And I was like, they better come back to those lizards. I want to know what's going on with the lizards. Why could they talk? Like, where were they going? What became of them? This is like, I don't know, 50 years later. It's like something has to be going on with the lizards. And it was getting further and further in the movie. And I was like, oh, I want to know what's going on with the lizards, where they went. And then you see these bad guys in shadows are like, those are the lizards. I was so excited. The lizards
you
actually,
really like the lizards.
Yes. I love weird things. And I love that it turned out that the lizards were the ultimate masterminds behind this evil plan.
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely out there. And so, but like I said, I understand if it's too out there for some people. I get it. But I thought it was fun for this kind of steampunky, kind of out there sort of movie. It worked for me. I think that the only part of this movie that to me doesn't really work is the boyfriend character. Like, I didn't need him.
He was fine, but it wasn't like, I don't know. I didn't hate him. I didn't love him. He was just fine.
Yeah. He was a little annoying for me, but I just didn't sense any chemistry at all between him and April at all. So
yeah,
it didn't really work for me. But yeah, it's just a back and forth between these lizards and our whole crew. And yeah.
I get why people might be turned off by the end and the ultimate reveal with the lizards, but I really liked it. I like things that are different, and this was very different. Like, this is one of those movies that at the beginning I was like, oh, I like how this looks, but it's like I wasn't like too invested, but as it went on and more things were revealed and more things kept happening, I was like, this is just getting better and better. And by the time the lizards hit, I was like, this is great. I love this movie.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Yeah, it's definitely one that takes some risks, and that's, I think, a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I liked April as a character, and you got kind of Darwin there, the cat, for some funny lines, some comic relief when it's getting tense, which I think worked pretty well. I just think it's very inventive and is continually kind of surprising you and continually doing something new. I was never bored, watching it. Yeah, so I think it's a pretty good movie. I think people should check it out, give it a shot.
Yeah, I'm glad you recommended it. It was one that I'd heard about, but like most of the ones that I'm watching these for my show are ones that people are recommending to me. So I'm glad you recommended this one.
Oh, well, good.
You know my taste.
That's good.
Okay, well, I think that's going to be all for today. Do you want to give people your info, tell them where to find you and such?
Yes. You can find me at Rachel's Reviews all over social media and on YouTube and iTunes. So check that out.
Okay. We'll see you another time then.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this video. Like I said at the beginning, the rest of this month will be Christmas-themed videos, with new episodes of the Christmas Carol Countdown, and maybe some new iHeart animation as well, just looking at some holiday movies or specials. If you have any idea for things I should review or talk about with my guests, let me know in the comments below. I already have a few ideas of what will be coming, but I'm definitely open to adding to the list, as well as planning for next year. In the first episode of the Christmas Carol Countdown, I will be joined by my cousin Sarah, and we will be talking about another silent version of the story from 1913. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, thanks for watching this episode. We'll see you next time.